Everybody, welcome to the stream. We are back on Attingham Park, and we're going to be working on the pumps and hoses today. We have a little bit of a mess. We were able to get one of our fields, the hay, all done on it and get the bales off of it so we can actually run the applicator on it as well. The other thing, we still got to get the hay off this field, so we probably won't get to this one today. And I'll have probably like a little time-lapse mini montage video up of doing the hay work, so some tedding, windrowing, and baling on this one. Won't be anything crazy, but maybe just a little short video. But we are going to get started on the pumps and hoses. I have most of the stuff laid out here. Set aside a couple hoses because we'll probably need, I believe, this longer one for the large field over there. I think the two oranges will work for this field and this field here. It has been a while since I've used this, so I'm going to need the help menu. I know that much. I think this hose is going to be way too long. Still have not found a great way to do it besides good run around the entire edge, but sometimes when you get too much pull on it, it starts to connect off the pump for some reason when you have issues like that. I probably was supposed to unwind that. Oh no. I don't know if I'm going to make it back to the tractor. We can drag this one a little bit. I think it hooks up to the side here. Not. Maybe it's the other side. There we go. That looks like a mess. So what I'm going to try to do is run up basically diagonal line up and down all the right side of the field from this angle. Then we'll come back and hit the other side. Hopefully we won't have to run over our hose too much. I'm gonna have automatic application rate on. Yeah, we gotta start the pump. So we activate our pump. Should be all set, I believe. This field shouldn't take too long. It'll help us kind of get in our groove, and then we can go from there. Turn on the map, make it a little easier to see the application rate. One thing that's difficult about this is if you don't have like GPS on, it's kind of hard to see where you applied, especially on a grass field. I kind of go off the little mini map in the corner and just hope I can line it up all right. Probably have some overlap. A lot of overlap. Get rid of the big carrier on the front. If you notice on like the precision farming, I know it is a little streaky with precision farming. I don't know if it's worse with the pumps and hoses with like the slurry application. If it's because if you look at the help window there, you'll see condition. So that's the condition of the pump. And I believe that is basically telling us when the pump's at 100% running. I don't know. I mean, usually when you look at it though, it says the application's nice and we got a good spread, but just kind of looks choppy on the menu, I guess. I'm gonna run down, see. My problem here is I don't think I line the hoses back up the way I run it. So now we're gonna start building this big loop, and that's eventually gonna cause us problems. On the larger fields, that loop will start to string out really far, and then you'll pop off on the pump. Then you gotta go back and hook it up, go back and hook it up. I still haven't found the perfect method, but I had found this method. I had watched a couple videos on it. One was kind of the US way, and then one was the more UK style. UK typically run like a diagonal because then you don't need as long of hoses. Kind of cut the field in half and then you just do 2 heads of the field. US was kind of you run up one side of the field and then you run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But here now I'm going to be running over my hoses a bunch. It just kind of looks tacky. Prefer not to do that. I think I would have to wind it back up, and my hose is way too long for this field. Maybe setting up GPS would be an ideal move. Just a little tricky on these odd-shaped fields. If I had a bunch of square fields, this wouldn't be much of an issue. A little bit left on this field. And we'll probably roll this hose up and then unwind the hoses again for the larger field. Have to go unhook it off the pump first, I believe, before we can attach it. One thing I have noticed here is if I leave the slurry tank next to basically the slurry pump tanker here, right next to the big slurry drum or silo, it'll pull right out of that silo and keep filling the tanker here. Makes it a lot easier than making a ton of trips back and forth because it doesn't hold very much slurry. I have yet to try with digestate. I don't know if digestate would work any better or more efficiently, I guess. Change it to winding and start the winding. Hard to really guess. I mean, I should lay it out and see exactly where I'm at, but it's been a while since I've used this, so it's hard for me to guess exactly how far my hose will reach. And with no hedge collisions on anymore, I don't know if it will just pull right through the hedges and then get stuck on a tree or what. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully the audio is sounding good. See, like this shape of this field, I don't even really know where to begin. Maybe this point way up here in the far side and then go up and down, or should I just run up and down the sides? Let's try just running up and down the edges and see how that goes. Might not work the best, but we'll give it a shot. Changed it to unwinding. We'll start unwinding now. To run up the edge a little bit, or run over the hose a little bit, because we're not able to get it up into the grass on the edge. We're going to be pushing our luck here. We maybe should have just gone straight. Just a hair short. Hey Fury, thank you for jumping in. Let's see if we can pull the hose far enough. Might stretch it. Hope you're having a good night, Fury. Or morning, wherever you're from. I believe you're from the US though. That's all good. All good. I don't think our hose is going to be long enough to reach across the wide end of the field over there. We might try running up and down, and if we have to roll out another hose, we will. I think I'm going to drop this front thing off though. And if we need to, we'll go pick up one of the other hoses. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing good. Got Monday out of the way. Now it's just a few more days and back to the weekend. These things are so awkward, honestly, to work with the hoses. We're gonna have to start our pump up again, so we'll cut through the hedge here. Activate our pump, and we should be good to go. Just gonna go for it and run the hose over for that first line. I know, but Leabab automatic application on, yep. They are a bit tricky to learn, and I still am pretty bad at it. As you can tell, I'm running over the hoses and slinging them all over the place. Haven't found the most efficient way to use them. The only thing I've heard is trying to not make like huge, big sweeping loops with them. Try to always keep it a tight turn. I think I'm gonna try to turn on GPS here. I always forget what my keybind is though. Oh, that was the wrong one. On my controller I have a keybind and I usually always mess it up. Alright, maybe that'll help us with our turns, making them a little tighter. I have to go back over a couple areas though. Much nicer. Also leaves my hands free to be able to look at chat and do some other things. So one way to tell is if it's hard to tell right now because I don't have the help menu open, but if I open the help menu, you can kind of tell at the bottom here, on the bottom of that help menu, it says I have it next to a liquid manure tank, and that's how many liters is in there. So I have 168,715. Now, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I have my pump right next to my large liquid tank, so it will pull the liquid manure straight out of that tank instead of draining my pump and the little slurry tanker I got. Makes it a little easier if you have a tank close to the farm, because then you know you can just keep running and running. Otherwise, that small pump and tanker runs out really fast. So then I would need a large, basically transport container to keep running back and forth between the fields and the silo, which is doable as well. Hey, Big Sky, thank you for jumping in. Hope you're doing well. This is why I turned off hedge collisions. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. The pumps and hoses, it's a hit or miss. I've played with it a little bit when it first came out, and it's kind of fun. It brings a new aspect to the game, but it is kind of tricky to learn them. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, and I'm still learning it. Sometimes it seems so awkward to maneuver them around and get them around in fields, and then string them out and all that. I haven't played with them in a while though, so that's why I'm a little, probably a little rusty on it. Honestly, if you don't think you'll use it, it's probably worth it. Just saving your money and buying Season 2 pass or something. Kinda if you're looking for something different to try out. Or if you run large animals and all that, then it works out a bit more in your favor. Then you have the manure and the slurry to be able to get everything you need. They did come out with one big update, and that helped with a lot of stuff, such as like the BGA they have and everything else. But they haven't updated it again, but I haven't really run into many issues. There was originally a bug with like auto drive where the hose, like the hose connecting to this arm right here was like glitching out visually and would look like it's way over here, the hose connection. But I haven't seen that at all, so I think that was fixed in the update. But I know playing Farming Simulator, sometimes people can get in kind of a rut. They feel like they're doing the same thing over and over, so this definitely brings another thing to learn, or a learning curve, and then also just something to try out. Add some time into it, definitely, for sure. Yep, some people, I mean, I know it happened to me in like FS19. I didn't get bored necessarily, but I felt like there was so many maps, good maps out there. But some people find it hard to, they start something, but they don't know how to like finish it, or they start to drag it out. Or somebody might start like a survival and then they realize they're just not having a whole lot of fun. I want to be able to try equipment right away. So like when I started kind of this save, I just said I'm going to give myself money and we're going to buy some of the equipment, and we're not going to make it like a strict deadline, strict rules, or anything like that. I like to try to play with like a budget and some realism, but sometimes when you're on limited playtime, it's just not really worth it. I think our pump unhooked back there. So if you look at, this is one thing I've had problems with, this is I won't have enough hose or something, and then my hose will disconnect from the pump. So if we look real close here, you can kind of see these little gaps. I think that was because my hose had unhooked and then I was just getting whatever residual was left in the hose. I might have to run another length of hose up and down the field. Yep. Sometimes when you get too many bends in the hose, like up downs on the field, the way it, like the physics on the hose in the game, it stretches it weird and it'll pop it off the pump there. Yeah, I think we're starting to just get too much on it. I'll have to grab another reel. Did it already pop off again? No. Oh, I forgot to activate the pump. Might run back up that same line and see if we can get that sorted out. There we go, now it's running over it. A little nicer, not great. So you just see the condition plummeted. I think we just popped off again. I'm going to unhook the applicator, or unhook the hose. Looking at the screen, I do agree. In FS19 they had the seasons mod had like moisture and a lot more. It seemed like a little more in depth on your soil analysis type stuff. And then the 22 they kind of just made it a little more general, not so. I guess a little more in depth. It would have been nice if they had released kind of a more. Maybe a basic version and an in-depth version, just so people could play whatever way they wanted, or kind of how they have toggles, you can just toggle whatever you want on or off. I think some people look up the YouTubers or other things out there how to play maybe FS22 or the most efficient way to play FS22, and then they learn all the steps, you know, fertilize, spray, fertilize, lime, whatever, da 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 da. They don't realize they can change it up themselves. Yeah, I think FS19, it was I can't think of their name, Realismus, whatever, did the mods. And, starting to go over my hose. I thought they had hired him to the team. but they didn't hire like the whole team or something. I'm not sure exactly. I thought they had hired him on, but maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. But they must have not wanted a super in-depth version or something, so seems like they cut a little corners, or they were trying to keep it a little more simple for people. I know there's quite a few people out there that do not like playing with like precision farming, and they turn seasons off. They don't like doing any of that, and it's just that's how they play. They play a little more generic. Oh man, that was a big jerk and wobble. Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard. Kind of a hard line between wanting money and making a game that people, the PC community wants. Alright, we gotta... My only hope is they maybe get a little more, I don't know, instead of going generic route, maybe FS20 whatever 4 or 5 will be on possibly a new modified engine or new engine, and just have a lot more in depth to it. Tend to think about where our money's going. True. I mean, there is a lot of really nice mods out there, though, that if you were really trying to go, I mean, obviously you're going to go super realistic because there's, like you were saying earlier, no compaction and other soil type things with fertilization and whatnot, but it is nice to have some of the mods such as the like manual attach and realistic refueling and manual refueling, and also adding in GPS and all those things to tractors to play. They have the which I think like the mods like real dirt, the real dirt color and real dirt fix and stuff like that should just be standard almost, but I guess not. I guess that's a little tricky. But there is the, the REA22, which does, it's not perfect, but does help with some of like slippage and vehicle balances and tires impacting differently. Hey Kieran, hope you're having a good night or a good day. I forget where you're from. Thank you for jumping in. Canada. Kind of makes sense from your logo. Now that I see it. Yep, giving the pumps and hoses a whirl. That's kind of what this whole Attingham Park playthrough's been about. MaizePlus and the pumps and hoses. Finally have been able to get the grass fields cut, so now they need an application of, I guess, fertilizer. This is where my research tends to end. I have no idea if people would actually put this type of application on grass or not. This looks like it would be more for right after harvest, maybe doing a field, plowing it into a field or something. I enjoy MaizePlus. It's a little daunting at first, kind of like pumps and hoses, has a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get into it, it's not too bad. And a lot of the bugs or the other stuff has worked itself out because a lot of modders are starting to make equipment more compatible, as well as MaizePlus being more compatible with stuff. Good start on MaizePlus stuff. Got some whole crop. Awesome. Yeah, I just got my first set of whole crop bales are fermenting or just finished fermenting. They're all just kind of sitting out next to the field. I need to get them all put away. Or they might just stay there. Looks like we're running a good nitrogen level. The grass doesn't really need a whole lot usually. I haven't tried horses with MaizePlus yet. I only have cows and sheep right now. Prepping food. Yep. I was I had the cows right away, so I was giving them a little bit of hay. But now that I have a bunch of silage and other things, I can use that. Alright, I need to remember how to disconnect. There we go. Yeah, that's possible. Like I said, I haven't looked into the horses much. I don't tend to use horses really in any of my saves. I've never really, I don't know, something about them. I've just never really enjoyed them. I think for us to start winding, we're gonna have to disconnect the two hoses and then also disconnect the one from the pump. I'm gonna have to find where I joined them. I think with someone, yeah, here we go. It's true, just like real life. Or you at least gotta clean and feed them. In FS19, they used to have a horse helper where you could just, it like hired somebody to ride the horses automatically for you. I don't know if they still have that in FS22. Oh, I guess they do. Speaking of that. Okay. All right, Kiro. Short summary. I like it. So sending them to the training facility will make them more profitable. Probably because they get proper training and whatnot. Turn them into show ponies. No, I have quite a few coworkers and some other people that own horses. Most of them, it's their wives that own the horse, and they have to just feed them and keep them groomed and cleaned. I think they call them hay burners. I'm sure the mod would work out. You might just have to test it with MaizePlus and make sure all the fill inputs and whatnot are in there. Now we have this large field. which I think if I remember right, I needed the long hose for that, so I'll probably have to grab that red hose and use it first, then go up and down. I was thinking about maybe plowing this field up and turning it into a possible maize field for next spring. I think we can get one more cut out of it, and then we'll plow it over winter, or right before winter. Applicator to help balance us out. We'll grab this large hose and use it initially. I think I can start at I should start at the pump itself. I believe I can. That way I'm not guessing on my unwind. Driving backwards all day today. I wonder if I could just drive forward and it would notice or not. Try it with the next one. This one's tricky. I don't know if we should go all the way down the road and up the left side and around. Another one of them odd-shaped fields. I don't know if any of you are console players. I think you are. But PlayStation, there's a video game called The Last of Us, and HBO just released the first episode of the TV show. Curious to see how it is. Video game was pretty good. Grew up with console, used it a lot. I think we're gonna struggle with my hose layout. We're gonna try spin, coming back down. Give that a whirl. Anyway, I grew up on console, so I played that all pretty much my entire life. And then I actually got FS19 on PlayStation because it was like a free game or something. Basically, after about 2 to 3 months of playing it nonstop, I bought a cheap laptop that could run the game. And then after that, I decided to build a PC. Since then, I've been pretty much PC only. I do play some PS5 games with my brothers and whatnot, because they all have it. So we need to hook up the hose over here, then activate the pump. Oh, I forgot to hook the red and orange hose together. That's that. Now we should be set to activate our pump. We'll set a new GPS course. That should be the same. We'll set A. See if that was far enough for B. Go. Hey Bruce, thank you for jumping in. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Monday. But you can definitely see it because this is fresh cut grass. You can see the lines much easier. The ones that have a little bit of growth on them, it's hard to tell where you're actually applying the slurry. Sure if anyone's into football. Looks like Cowboys might be walking away with this one. Nice thing about this JCB Fast Track is that it has all-wheel drive, so you can make really tight corners. That way you're not making a huge loop with the hose. honestly, with the... I don't really care much for who's in the playoffs. I don't have a favorite team. My team did not make it, I should say. But I'm just happy the Packers are not in it. And I kind of hope the Cowboys get beat by somebody. Honestly, that whole division that the Buccaneers was in was ugly. The NFC South, I think. Every single team was like on a cusp of losing record. Yeah, as long as the Cowboys don't win it, I really don't mind any other team winning it. I am rooting for Trevor Lawrence a little bit with the Jaguars, but I don't know if they can actually make it. Been a Clemson fan a lot of my life. Back when they used to make the NCAA football games, I don't know who had the contract, if it was Madden or what. But my brothers and I all picked random teams, and Clemson was one of the franchises we started. Tree. Let me get my crash counter on. Having the GPS set makes this a little bit easier. Before I was never using GPS, so I was always just kind of guessing on my lines, but with the GPS and the grass freshly cut, it makes it way easier to see what you're doing. I actually thought I had added, oh, I must not have the inputs in. I was going to say, I thought I had put a crash counter in where I could just push a button and it would tally up. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to stream today. I updated the PC last night because it's been yelling at me to update for a while. I figured it was a time I had a little bit of free time. I was like, I'll update. And then the next thing I know, whenever I'd pull up OBS or the game, my screens would just start flickering like nonstop, like every 30 seconds. I would just blink black. It was driving me crazy. Finally figured it out. Something with OBS Studio and the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling in Windows. I don't know what it is. They just don't like to work together, I think. So much ghosting on that bird. I had updated OBS, I think, to one of the 28 versions, but I haven't updated it in a little while now. So I need to record all my settings and then probably maybe, I don't know, maybe do an update on it to see if that'll fix a few issues with newer updates on like drivers and Windows. I've learned my lesson to like never jump on an update right away. I've had a couple like NVIDIA GPU drivers when I update, all of a sudden I had weird issues and I find out they have a bunch of problems in the update. Typically I let it ride for a few weeks to see if anybody has issues with it. Looking at my sources, I realized I turned that off, I think. Go. Probably have way more than 2, but we can count from there. Make that a little brighter on the screen, a little more bold, I suppose, darker text. Identify your displays. Oh, so like you have to display 1 or 2 in your Windows settings, basically. Has to be identified in your OBS settings. That's a little weird. I guess, I don't know. It seems like updates are always adding things or changing things. That makes sense because the main display I play on, I think, is technically labeled number 2. So I wonder if, and then I think the new Windows update added something about image capturing or display capturing. I don't know. It's some jargon that is a little over my head at times, or mostly over my head at times. But when I start to think I'm learning something about PCs or whatnot, then I learn something totally different. I realize it's another whole rabbit hole. Are you saying I shouldn't update 30 minutes before the stream? Yeah, usually I wait to update on a day that I know I'm not playing, or I know if something goes wrong I can have the night to fix it, or the next day. Only thing that happened last night is I got set back. I was hoping to record some content that I could edit, but I ended up spending a good hour or two trying to fix that issue, and then I just got kind of tired of it and went to bed. I know I'm probably going to jinx myself, but so far the hose layout's been working pretty decent. I think we're still going to have to run a headwind around just to clean up some of the edges. I think this is the first time I haven't ran over the hose like 30 times. Typically I lay it out and the next thing I know I'm driving all over the hose and whatnot. One thing I haven't done yet is try to clean the hoses off. So I need to buy I think it's a compressor, and then get like I don't know if it's a water pump or just the compressor, but something to, I think, pump water through them and then they get cleaned out. Getting close, almost done. See if we make it all the way without any issues. Our applicator's getting pretty dirty though. One thing that would not be fun to clean, I don't think. You probably just run water through it, but looks like it would be gross. Chocolate milk, yeah. Odd smelling chocolate milk. honestly thoroughly surprised we did this whole field with 0 issues. Always wonder, dairy cows have to dump their milk. That goes in. Oh, like if a dairy cow had to get rid of their milk, where would they put it? I really have no idea. My guess is it would probably depend on what's wrong with the milk. If there's like some bad chemical or infection or something, it might have to be, I don't know if it's regulated in a way that it would have to be disposed of by, you know, proper means, like an EPA regulated means, or if it just can be dumped out. But if it's just for some reason got spoiled or something because the tank or storage or whatever went bad or something, that would probably be slightly different. Could probably just dump it wherever. I don't know if it would actually add any nutrient. Well, I guess I don't know what they do with the slurry. All farmers probably don't use necessarily slurry. Now we're pulling on the red. I wonder if we'll pop off the pump. Feeling we're not even hooked up. We're pulling the red hose and the red hose is getting tight, so it's probably off the That's good enough. Gonna have to give this a good pressure washing. Don't think we can wind it with the we gotta unhook the orange and the red hose. The red all the way over here. Pull out our handy dandy tool. Farmyard's a mess right now because I got bales everywhere. I need to organize the bales in the shed and get the hay bales I just did into a shed. And I got a whole bunch of grass silage in there. I need to get some of the crop swap silage in there, or not the crop swap, can't think, whole crop silage in there. Where'd our red hose go? We pulled it all the way. Man, we must have pulled it really far. I did not realize we pulled it that far. I was gonna go line up with it. So originally, with the first time I applied the slurry, I did it manually without the auto application for precision farming. This time I did just the auto application, so I'm curious if that helped my score, because my score went way down, I think, from the manual application. So that's a little better. Yep, so nitrogen's high. Last time nitrogen was all the way down to like 0. Still need to get weed control under it and tillage, but that's because these were grass fields originally, so there was I never did any tillage on them. And then I haven't done any weed control at all because I haven't needed to. This field was plowed, so no weeds came up. And then these have all just been grass and no weeds have been coming up on them. Long one. I think it's a 500-meter hose. Could probably turn this off. Well, we'll just go park the tanker down. Like I said, I have bales everywhere, so I have these bales all stacked in there, but I need to probably move this telehandler out of the way and get the other hay bales in there. Then I need to sort these out because they're a mess. Then I'll have to get these, which is the whole crop silage, into there. But they have a wrap on them, so they should be alright out in the elements. That's another thing I miss from like seasons is bales and whatnot rotting away. Still whining, man. Gotta be near the end, right? Stuck on something? Still all the way down the field. Did it not wind when I'm in not oh maybe it doesn't wind when I'm not in the tractor. It looks nice aesthetically. Kink in the hose. It is winding super slow. I don't feel like it ever takes this long. I don't know if maybe it's caught on like that fence post or something. Going through, it's just Hey Jody, thank you for dropping in. Hope you're doing well. We are just finishing up with some of the pumps and hoses. We did about 3 grass fields. I'm doing pretty good myself. Been fun trying out the pumps and hoses again. It's been a while since I've tried them. And it's also been nice just to be able to get on and play. They are pretty cool to use. I've only used them not very much, I will say that. But today I felt like I got a little bit more groove down. I felt like I did pretty good today with them. Started off a little rough, but once I got to the large field, I was able to lay the hoses out pretty good and get the whole field done without having the hoses unhook or detach or get bound up. We'll go set the hoses under their little shed, and then we need to clean off this applicator. It's covered in chocolate milk, as Kieran calls it. Bit of log on silver run, that's nice. I think I plan on trying to do some of that, either recording some of it this week or maybe trying to live stream like Thursday night. I haven't been able to really dive into it yet, sadly. So I'm hoping to actually be able to get a few hours of gameplay where I can just learn it, use it, and actually get some of the new equipment out there. we'll have to get this back out when we finish the other field. We have one more field that needs hay, then I also need to get a field where I can plant some either canola or winter wheat. Probably winter wheat in the field we have cleared up. So this field's harvested and just been left blank for a few days now. I'm gonna have to go over it with... I really don't know. I think I can just direct drill it. Shouldn't need any plowing. Nope. We could probably drill it and roll it. Or roll it and drill it. I don't know what the preference is. I don't think we can do any seeding though for... Yeah, we'll have to wait till September for the wheat or barley. Yeah, I haven't even started on the roller coaster yet, Jody. I wanted to get a boat done first and then do the roller coaster, but I think it's going to be a process. For me, anyway. I think we're going to park the tractor away for now. And it'll probably be a slightly shorter stream today because I do have work in the morning. We have... It set him up running a course. And some hay done. And this field's so small that I almost just like to do it manually. This fence is a pain. Thought about trying to use the delete objects mode and get rid of the fence because you can't delete it in the demolish menu. That's for sure. I've watched a few people working on the roller coaster and it looks like it takes a lot of material. No GPS on this tractor, so we just gotta make our rows not super squiggly. About jackknife there. Got into the other one. Yep, I think we'll finish up this windrowing and then I'll probably be calling it a night there. Getting close to that 2-hour mark. Nothing better than working on these tight, odd-shaped fields, trying to windrow. Alright, well, I think we're going to leave it there, everybody. I appreciate everyone coming out, chatting, and watching the gameplay. If you are there and haven't liked the video, please give it a like. It helps me out, helps the channel out. Also, if you want to see more content on really anything, MaizePlus, Silver Run, Pumps and Hoses, I am doing series and live streams on a lot of that stuff. I have currently been trying to find kind of a new map to try out. So I did a live stream, I think last Friday, maybe, on Fichtel. I've been thinking about maybe trying out that new map that's been going around, the Oak something. That Farm Sim guy and I think a couple other people have done some videos on. And then I might try out the Bally Springs. I might wait for an update on that one as well. As well as like Chilliwack or Chilliwack, I'm not sure what it's called. The British Columbia map, Canada map. So, if you want to see more of that stuff or see some of that stuff in the future, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Also, I do have a Discord. If you want to join there, I'll also have some info on what I'm doing with the channel, as well as just helping out wherever I can. Because that's what we do in the Farm Sim community, help each other out. So, thank you for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And I will catch you all on the next one.